Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah.
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Radha Kunja Bihare Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanajare Jamuna Tira Vanajare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanajare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Vishnupada Paramamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtotra Sadhri Srimad His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupada Paramamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtotra Sadhri Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Ananta Kodi Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Sako Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Ganga Mai Ki Yamuna Mai Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupada. Krishna Prasthaya Bodhre Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane. Vishesha Sunyavadi Paschatata Satarane. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. On behalf of ISKCON Scarborough, I'd like to welcome each one of you to this Friday evening program. Today we'll be reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse 24. From Bhagavad Gita, verse 24 of the chapter 5, the title of the chapter is Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. Yo anto sukantora ramas tatantar jyotir evaya tatantar jyotir evaya sayogi brahma nirvanam sayogi brahma nirvanam Brahma Bhuto Digacchati. Brahma Bhuto Digacchati. Yo Anto Sukontara Ramas. Yo Anto Sukontara Ramas. Tatantir Jyotir Evaya. Tatantir Jyotir Evaya. Sayogi Brahma Nirvanam. Brahma Bhuto Digacchati. Once more. Yo Anto Sukontara Ramas. Tatantir Jyotir Evaya. Sayogi Brahma Nirvanam. Brahma Bhuto Digacchati. Word for word meaning? Ya, one who. Anta Sukha, happy from within. Anta Arama, actively enjoying within. Tata, as well as. Anta Jyoti, aiming within. Eva, certainly. Ya, anyone. Sa, he. Yogi, a mystic. Brahma Nirvanam, liberation in the Supreme. Brahma Bhuta, being self-realized. Adigacchati, attains. Translation: one whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, and inward is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme, and ultimately he attains the Supreme. I'm going to read the translation once again. Please hear attentively. One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme, and ultimately he attains the Supreme. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Unless one is able to relish happiness from within, how can one retire from the external engagements meant for deriving superficial happiness? A liberated person enjoys happiness by factual experience. He can therefore sit silently at any place and enjoy the activities of life from within. Such a liberated person no longer desires external material happiness. This state is called Brahma Bhuta, attaining which one is assured of going back to Godhead, back to home. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him and to all the Vaishnavas in the Guru Parampara. Vancha kalpatirubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desired trees, fulfilling the desires of everyone, and are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. Hare Krishna. Again, for those of you who joined us a bit late, we are reading from a chapter titled Karma Yoga, Yoga in Krishna Consciousness, and we are reading the 25th verse in this 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And in this particular verse, Lord Krishna is teaching Arjun that 3 times the word within or inward is used. That there are 2 types of happiness. One, happiness is the happiness that is derived when the senses contact the sense objects. That means the eyes and the nose and the ears and the tongue and touching. When we touch different things which are external to us, that's the pleasure that one derives in the material world. Is that not right? When we see something beautiful, there is a little bit of happiness which is temporary, which is fleeing, which is fleeting, which is ephemeral. which is transient. All that means it's like spark of happiness. It comes and goes. So that is derived when the senses come in contact with the sense objects, which is external. A beautiful car, a beautiful house, a beautiful drink. So these are external happiness, or happiness derived from a source that is outside. But this happiness that is gained is got an expiry date. It's got an expiry time or expiry date. So that happiness does not last long. So it varies, but it definitely it's not permanent source of happiness. And Prabhupada in his purport and in many other purports explains to us that is in this material world there is no permanent happiness, and we as spirit souls encaged in this material body, we hanker for this permanent happiness. So we try to see whether there is permanent happiness in all these external sense objects, but there is none. There is no permanent happiness there, and therefore there is a lot of anxiety and frustration. So this is the happiness that is derived when the senses go outward and try to get permanent satisfaction or happiness, and we cannot get that. And as we know, many material things that we always wanted, we were hankering and lamenting. There are two words, sochati and one is sochati means where we are lamenting that we had something and we lost. Oh, I had this beautiful house, I paid so much of money, but now the water is leaking in the basement and it's flooded. There's so much of leakage in the roof, or there's a burglar who came into the house and took so many expensive items. So what was once happiness will be turned into sadness later on, or what is very, even though something is really good, we cannot enjoy that anymore. Maybe somebody loves to eat gulab jamun or sweets so much, but that person by nature at some point in time will have diabetes and he cannot go and eat the sweets. So either the happiness that we were deriving is no longer happiness to us in due course of time. Anything that is new that we wanted, we always have more fascination and we seem to be more happier. But in due course of time, we are not happy with whatever we had and we are looking for something newer. Or if we are continuing to enjoy or derive that flickering happiness from that thing, in due course of time, either it is taken away from us or we stand to lose that opportunity to derive that flickering pleasure from that same object. So that is happiness derived from external source, and it always ends in lamentation and hankering. So we want something and then it will be taken away from us or we cannot enjoy anymore. So there is hankering and lamentation. Hankering and lamentation. So that's what is mentioned repeatedly in Bhagavad Gita as well. So in material world, when we are going after material objects, external material objects, or trying to derive the happiness from it, we tend to be more frustrated than what we are gaining out of that. And we have to pay a price for that too. When we are trying to get happiness from the material world, we have to pay a price at some point in time. So this is external happiness. But what is referred to in this particular verse, in this translation itself, Lord Krishna is using the word within. So we talked about external source, where we go outside to derive something that we want from a nice movie, from a nice house, where we go outside and try to gain happiness. But in this particular verse, Lord Krishna is teaching Arjun, one whose happiness is within, inside, and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward as well, is actually a perfect mystic. So a perfect mystic is one, in the purport Prabhupada is saying, he does not have to go to a wonderful resort outside to gain that little bit of happiness that he wants. All pleasure is attained by him when he's sitting. Prabhupada in his explanation, he can sit at any place and enjoy the activities of life from within. So what does that mean? How does one get happiness from within? So we all have a glimpse of that when we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Yes, our mind wanders once in a while, but we seem to understand the purport and the translation when we think of chanting the holy name. When we are chanting our rounds, we are in a zone, and we are increasing that time period that we are in that zone, where we are not sidetracked to any other thoughts of past or future. So because our mind drags us into past, what had happened yesterday, and what is going to happen later today. So that's the job of the mind. Goes after the past or fast forward to the future. But when we are in the zone, we are in that present state as of now. When we are hearing the name of the Lord that we are chanting in the early in the morning when there is no other disturbance. So we are in that zone, and at that time we are able to derive that happiness from within. Our mind is not going anywhere externally for sense objects, but we are just hearing that sound, holy name of the Lord, and we are able to derive that pleasure. We are able to see that there is so much of pleasure there. And these mystics are able to attain this state permanently. And how is that? Because first thing is they are in the Brahma Buddha state. So in this particular verse, it is said, and also in the purport, Prabhupada is mentioning about Brahma Buddha platform. In simple terms, Brahma Buddha platform means one who is self-realized. Self-realized means one who knows that I am not the body, but I am the soul. So that is self-realized. You are realizing your own self. And when we realize our own self, Prabhupada explains it much easier by saying self-realized means one who does not think I am an American, I am an Indian, I am rich, I am poor, I am great, I am man. One whose bodily designations are taken out, then that person is in Brahma Buddha platform. And Ramanujacharya explains Brahma Buddha platform means one who knows that he is the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. And this is nothing new. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu repeatedly teaches us in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jivere Swarupe Aya Krishnere Nityadas. So our constitutional position is to be eternally the servant of the Lord. And if you're wondering how is the servant of the servant of the servant, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also explains in Chaitanya Charitamrita that long verse is there. Naham Vipro na Chanarapati Napi Vaishyo na Sudro Naham Varni na Chagrahapati no Vanasto Yatirva Kintu Prodya Nikala Paramananda Purnaptir Gopi Bartu Padakamalayor Dasa Dasanu Dasa. So 3 times. So not just I'm just a servant. I'm servant of the servant of the servant. So that is the humble position that Lord Krishna himself took as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which he is teaching us to take as well. Trinada Pisuni Chena Taroriva Sashna, more humble than a blade of grass. So he's teaching us to be in this Brahma Buddha platform. Brahma Buddha platform means I'm the servant of the servant of the servant. I'm not Indian, I'm not rich. So we take out that bodily concept of life, then we are in this Brahma Buddha platform. And in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna teaches Brahma Buddha Prasannatma Na Sochati Na Kankshati Sama Sarveshu Bhudeshu Mad Bhaktim Labade Param. So here Lord Krishna is explaining when one attains this Brahma Buddha platform, that means I'm not man, I'm not woman in simple terms, and one who thinks that I'm the servant of the servant of the servant. When one attains that Brahma Buddha platform, then there is Na Sochati Na Kankshati. Na Sochati, Tamil la vandu Sogam. Sogam means lamentation. So when we are in this self-realized platform, then there is no lamentation and there is no anchoring. So we are not in this where we don't want to derive this happiness from outside source. When we are lamenting means, that means we had something that we lost. When we are in this platform that everything that we have is Krishna's, and he can take away anything and he can give us anything. So when we are in that platform, then you don't lament for something that you lost, and you don't hanker. Hanker means you're greedy for something. Oh, he's got that house, I want that house. That is hankering. So when one is in this spiritual state of mind, not in this bodily platform, then there is no lamentation, then there is no anchoring. And Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu, he looks at all living entities equally. Why is that? Because super soul is there in the heart of everyone. So here, how does this person who's in this Brahma Buddha platform does not hanker and does not lament? It's because Param Drishtva Nivartate. So again we read from Bhagavad Gita, when one attains the higher taste is getting that bliss from within. When one attains this higher taste, one loses the lower taste. Is that not right? We have seen that, right? All of us liked lollipop when we were little boys and girls, lollipop or some sort of candies. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did we all like some sort of candies and lollipop when we were growing up? But now, our taste has gotten better. Now we like gulab jamun or any other sweet for that matter that is offered in our temples. So now we are not hankering for that lollipop that we used to be hankering for many, many years ago. Is that fair? I'm just giving an example, but you can think of some example that you were hankering for when you're a little boy or a girl, but then later on that taste is not there. There is a distaste for the lower taste. Even materially, when you can think of, you're used to this high-speed internet now. When somebody is saying, I'm offering you at a cheaper price, dial-up internet, how many of us will go? You got that higher taste, that lightning speed internet. So we don't want this, it's like watching paint dry. Is that not right? You click one page and it takes long time for it to come. So once we get used to the higher taste, you have a distaste for the lower one. So that is what these Brahma Buddha platform mystics, devotees, they are able to derive that happiness from within themselves. Now, how do they derive an happiness within themselves? As we heard before, they realize they are the spirit soul. And when we realize we are the spirit soul, how can we derive happiness? Because the nature of spirit soul is given in our Vedic literature. We are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we are Satchidananda. Satchidananda means, Sat means eternal existence, because for the soul there is no birth or death. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavitavana bhuya. So there's no birth, no death for the soul. So we are Satchit. Sat means eternal existence. When there is birth for the body, the matter. When there is death, this body is left behind, but the soul goes to another body. So there is no death for the soul. So eternal existence. Sat Chit means eternal knowledge. Because we are part and parcel of the Lord, and Supreme Lord has 6 opulences in full. So Sat Chit, eternal knowledge. And Ananda means eternal bliss. So once we realize that we are the spirit soul, then we are able to derive that eternal bliss from that Sat Chit Ananda state of ours. And another reason why this Brahma Buddha platform devotees are eternally happy or blissful is because they realize there is super soul or Paramatma within them. So that is why that is the two differences. Those are the two differences. One is deriving happiness from an external source and deriving happiness from within. So the next question is, does the great devotees of the Lord who are in the Brahma Buddha platform, will they not hanker for something? Will they not lament for something? Yes, they do hanker and lament, but then they do hanker and lament for the Lord, not for material things. And how is it possible for them? They go deep within themselves. When they go deep within themselves, they're able to feel the presence or know the presence of Paramatma within them. And why they are not able to get distracted for this material desires. We go to the 70th verse of the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita here. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. So now, all of you know oceans that are there. There are billions and billions of liters of water pour in during the winter months from different rivers, Ganges and Yamuna. Where does all the river end? All goes into the sea. Billions and billions of liters of water enter into the sea. So Krishna in the 70th verse is saying, one who can attain peace is that there will be desires coming like rivers of water coming into us. So we are considered like an ocean, and the desires are like the rivers that keep pouring in billions of water into the ocean. Now, does the ocean get agitated during winter? Have you ever seen there is tsunami every winter because there's so much of water in it? Never. The ocean is always stable. You don't even see that it is rising in level or it's going down. Billions and billions of water. So Lord Krishna is comparing. So if you are in this Brahma Buddha platform, that means you don't have no sochati, no kankshati, because they are like the ocean. when billions and billions of water come from all parts of rivers, like how different desires come into them, they are not agitated because they don't give in to those desires. Same thing in summer. In summer, the rivers are almost dry. Many of these rivers are almost dry. They don't pour in so much of water, or sometimes only just few trickles of water going into the sea. Does the sea become dry? Are all the fishes upside down? No. So Lord Krishna is explaining through this analogy that one who's in this self-realized platform is like the ocean, which does not get agitated by the rivers of desire that come in. So we have so many dualities in life. All of us do have dualities, right? We have fame, defamation. We have friend, enemy. Fortune, misfortune. Victory, defeat. Fame, dishonor. So many dualities of life. Birth, death, day, night, win, lose, honor, dishonor. It goes on, never-ending dualities of life. But Lord Krishna is saying, be steady. Like the ocean, don't get too hyperactive when lot of water come in, or don't become dry when no water comes in. Always be steady. When you have great promotion in your life, in your job, don't go overboard. And when you lose the job, don't go too dejected as well. Stay in between. So that's the message from this wonderful verse, which says, one whose happiness is within, who's active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme, and ultimately he attains the Supreme. So this is an easy ticket to go back home, back to Godhead. So when we are in this Brahma Buddha platform, or when we get into this Brahma Buddha platform, which is self-realized platform, then there's no hankering, then there is no lamentation, then there is a pathway to Goloka Vrindavan. Now, here Krishna is saying perfect mystics derive this happiness from within. So there are many pastimes of great acharyas who have lived this life of Brahma in the Brahma Buddha platform. And today we'll hear some of the pastimes of one of a great acharya in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. So with your permission, I would like to narrate the pastimes of one of the great Vaishnava acharyas. Is that okay? Hare Krishna. So, Alwar means one who dives deep. That's the meaning of Alwar. Alwar means one who dives deep. So they dive deep and they are immersed in the thoughts of the Lord, Narayan. So there are 12 great Alwars in total, and today we'll hear the pastimes of one of the 12 Alwars, and he's the fourth of the Alwars, and his name is Thirumazhizai Alwar. Now, if you're wondering, Thirumazhizai Alwar, is their advent, or Alwar's advent, is it predicted in Srimad Bhagavatam? Yes, it is. So I would like to read this verse quickly, which is from the 11th canto, 5th chapter, verses 38 to, this is Narada Muni teaching Vasudeva, father of Lord Krishna. My dear king, the inhabitants of Satya Yuga and other ages eagerly desire to take birth in this age of Kali, since in this age there will be many devotees of the Supreme Lord Narayan. These devotees will appear in various places, but will be especially numerous in South India. O Master of Men, in the age of Kali, those persons who drink the waters of the holy rivers of Dravida Desa. Dravida Desa is again South India. Such as Tamaraparani, Kritamala, Payasvini, extremely pious Kaveri, and Pratichi Mahanidhi will almost all be pure-hearted devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. Now, these 12 Alvars were all born in the banks of all these wonderful rivers. So, Kritamala is Vaigai Nadi. Current Vaigai Nadi was called as Kritamala before. Payasvini is Palar, and Mahanadi is Periyar. So all these, for those of you who have been to South India, these are the rivers that are still there. It's not that it was there 5,000 years ago and it's disappeared now. All these rivers are currently there. So Alvars were born in around all these wonderful rivers in the Dravida Desa, and today we'll hear some of the pastimes of Thirumazhizai Alwar. It's very, very fascinating. And why do we hear the pastimes of great devotees of the Lord? When we hear the pastimes of the great devotees of the Lord, we are associating with the devotees of the Lord. When you associate with the devotees of the Lord, we get immense blessing because of the merciful nature of these wonderful devotees of the Lord. And Alvars are paraphernalia of the Lord. So, Alvars are paraphernalia of the Lord. So, this Alwar, Thirumazhizai Alwar, is Sudarshan Chakra. So, Sudarshan Chakra itself is Thirumazhizai Alwar. And as I mentioned, Alwar means one who dives deep. They are always immersed in the thoughts of the Lord. So, once great rishis, Atri Muni, Angira Muni, Bhrigu Muni, Bhargava Muni, and Vashishta Muni. All these great rishis go to Lord Brahma and they pray to Lord Brahma and they ask him, out of all the places that we can go and perform austerity and sacrifice and chant the holy name of the Lord, which is the most holiest, so we can get maximum benefit in short duration of time. We also like to go, right? It is said on Ekadasi, when you're chanting extra rounds in Vrindavan, India, you get so much more benefits. So they're asking, I want to perform this austerity, but which is the place that is most holy so that we can derive maximum benefit for the sake of humanity? They don't do anything for themselves. Which is the maximum benefit giving place? And Lord Brahma tells them it is a place called, anybody can guess? No. This is Poondamali. Poondamali, this is, currently it is called as Poondamali. Poondamali means, Malli means jasmine. So we offer jasmine to the Lord. So Poondamali is a place which is about 25 kilometers. Mahishara Chetra, it was called at that time Mahishara Chetra. And it's about 25 kilometers from Chennai. And in this particular place, and why did Brahma say that this particular place, Poondamalli or Mahishara Chetra, is the best where you can derive maximum benefit at that time? How did he come to know that? He knows past, present and future. But what did he do? He called Vishwakarma, who's the engineer of the demigods. He built all this Nandanandana gardens, all this heavenly kingdom was all built by Vishwakarma. And Vishwakarma took a scale, he put the whole earth in one side and he put Mahishara Chetra in the other side. Mahishara Chetra was more potent than any other part of the world. So he said, if you go to Mahishara Chetra and then perform austerity, maximum benefit can be derived. So all these great rishis, including Bhargava Muni, they come to Poondamali, which is close to Chennai, and they perform severe austerities. And many of them are married, as you know. So in due course of time, Bhargava Muni's wife gave birth to a child. So now it is said all these pastimes are from ISKCON Media Vedic Library. So there is a wonderful website, you can get all these wonderful pastimes from that. So it's a bona fide ISKCON source, but it's been corroborated with sources from Srirangam. So what you're hearing is what had happened and what is stated even in the books from the 18th century. So here, a child is born, but it is said that the child was just a piece of flesh. There is no head, there is no hand, there is no leg, there is no eyes, of course. So just a piece of flesh was born. So Bhargava Muni thought it was very inauspicious, and his wife also thought the same. So they took this baby, went to a far off bamboo thicket in a forest, quietly left the baby there, didn't even turn back, walked back to their home. Now this piece of flesh has got life in it. So in due course of time, Mother Earth took care of this piece of flesh, and slowly head started growing, hands started growing, legs started growing, and it became a baby. That flesh became a baby with beautiful features, and then the baby started crying. And this is in the middle of nowhere in the forest. And the baby is crying and crying and crying because the baby is hungry. And the Supreme Lord Narayan appears in front of this baby and he blesses, "Do not worry, you will never have hunger and thirst anymore. And this baby opens his little eyes and he has a glimpse of Lord Narayan. Such a beautiful ambrosial form of the Lord. And then immediately the Lord disappears. And now the baby continues to cry, not because the baby is hungry or thirsty, because he lost that wonderful form of the Lord that appeared in front of the baby. And he's gone. So now the baby is crying more and more and more and more, but there's nobody. There is the middle of nowhere in the forest. But there is a hunter by the name of Thiruvalan. He's a timber, it's not a hunter, sorry. He's a woodcutter, timber woodcutter. Now he and many of his friends, they do cut trees to take the wood. And they are hearing this because the pin drop silence and occasional birds chirping and animals howling. But then they are hearing, it sounds like a baby crying, but they're not sure. So he says, is that a baby crying far off? Others are saying, no, that's a wolf that is howling. Going towards that origin of the sound, and then they realize, no, this is baby's sound. But they can't be, how can a baby, newborn baby, be there in the forest, in the middle of the forest, in the bamboo thickest, and nobody is there, no parents, nobody is there. So they go, and then it's the most beautiful baby that they've ever seen is there in front of them. And Thiruvalan, being a woodcutter, he does not have a child, and he's old by that time when he found this baby. And he thought it will be a great gift for his wife Pankaja Selvi, who could not get a child. So they're going to adopt this child because somebody has to take care of this baby. So they take this baby and they go home. And Pankaja Selvi automatically manifested the symptoms of a mother, even though she was old. And she was trying to feed this baby. However, she tries to feed this baby is not drinking any milk. Hours pass, days pass, months pass. This baby is growing beautifully in a healthy condition. Not one morsel of food has gone inside him. Not one drop of water or milk he is drunk. So this is a baby. This is Thirumazhizai Alwar. Because he got blessed by the Supreme Lord that he will not have the pangs of thirst and hunger. He is not having any thirst feelings or hunger, but he's growing beautifully in a healthy way. And this news spread around everywhere. Oh, you know what? This Thiruvalan and Pankaja Selvi, they were so old, but somehow they have this beautiful young boy. And this young boy is lived so long now, for a few years now, without even drinking a drop of water or milk or any food. He's never taken anything. So news spread like wildfire, and then many devotees come from far off place to take the darshan of this wonderful personality. And there is one old couple. They come from a neighboring place and they offer obeisances, and they're carrying a backpack bag, and in the bag they have milk. So they all know that this baby does not drink milk at all, or any food for that matter. Somehow they take that bag, they take little milk, and they are offering that milk to this baby, who's this boy by this time, and he's not even drank any drop of milk. And slowly they give little milk with the permission of the parents, and this boy Thirumazhizai drinks some milk. They were so happy. Nobody could believe that this boy after many years started to drink something. Next day again they come, and they made this a habit. Every day Thirumazhizai Alwar will just drink milk from this couple, only old couple. He'll not drink from anyone else, including their parents, but only from this old couple. One day as he was growing up, he knew the intention of this old couple. And he said, I'm going to give you some milk after I drink some, and you as a wife drink this, and you have a desire to have a young boy, new child in your life, and your wife will give birth to a boy. They were surprised. How did this young boy know our intention? Because they never prayed to him or asked him, can you bless us? So they take the milk, the wife drinks, and in due course of time, a son is born for them. He's as beautiful as Vidura, and they name him Kani Kannar. That is the son of this old couple. In the meanwhile, by the way, we need to have faith when we hear this wonderful pastime. Thirumazhizai Alwar lived for not 47 years, not 470 years, 4,700 years. So for the first 700 years it is said, in the literatures that he was trying to understand various philosophies. But when he was 700 years old, then he understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu Narayan, and he started worshipping Lord Narayan when he was 700 years old. And what was he doing? He was in Triplicane. How many of you know Triplicane in Chennai? Tiruvallikeni. Tiruvallikeni is probably 4 or 5 kilometers from where we live. And there is a wonderful temple called Parthasarathi temple. For those of you who've been to Triplicane, you'll know Parthasarathi temple is Lord Krishna with a moustache. Parthasarathi, because he was a charioteer, and charioteers always have a moustache, if you know the charioteers from many, many years ago. So, and Krishna's got some cut marks because he was in the Kurukshetra war, and he's so tall and so handsome, beautiful deities there in this Triplicane area, and it's called Parthasarathi temple. So there is a wonderful Gajendra Kund there in Triplicane, and in the tank, there are various steps. Thirumazhizai Alwar is happily sitting and stitching his old cloth that he's wearing. He's not hankering for any clothes. He's like a beggar. He begs for whatever he wants. But until this shirt is totally not wearable, he will keep stitching it. So he takes a small needle-like thing with a small thread, and he's trying to stitch whatever is worn out. And at that time, Lord Shiva is flying with Parvati, with Lord Shiva with trident in the hand and in Nandi. He's flying by. And it is said, anytime their shadow falls on anybody who's on earth, they will get immense material benefit. Immense material benefit they will get right away. So the shadow is going, and then they're almost coming on top of Thirumazhizai Alwar. Thirumazhizai Alwar saw that, and when the shadow was coming to fall on him, he jumped that side. He did not want the shadow to fall on him. Now Parvati Devi is thinking, what is this? I've never seen anybody who does not want our blessings, material blessings. They can get any material blessings they want, and this personality jumps so that our shadow does not fall on him. And then Lord Shiva says, don't worry about him. He's a devotee of Lord Vishnu. He is not hankering for any material pleasure. If you remember the verse that we are reading, one who's a mystic derives happiness from within. So he does not want from external source. So Parvati Devi says, no, I want to go see this person. I've never seen anybody who does not want our shadow to fall on him. That means he does not want material happiness. I need to go see him. Lord Shiva wants, no, do not go. Let's proceed. No, Parvati Devi says, no, I want to go meet this personality. So they come down. And when they come down, Thirumazhizai Alwar, we cannot imitate great personalities. That will be an offense, because Lord Shiva is one of the greatest personalities. But in this pastime, this is what happens. They say Anukara and Anusara. Anukara means imitating. We cannot imitate great personalities, but we can follow in their footsteps. How we can follow in their footsteps is by their disassociation with material hankerings. So here, he does not even see Lord Shiva, who is in front of him. He is continuing to stitch, and Lord Shiva says, please ask me for a boon. We came here, you did not even want our shadow to fall on you. Please ask me for any boon, and I'll be able to give you. So he's not even seeing, he's continuing to stitch. And then he says, okay, if you want to give me a boon, give me liberation. And Lord Shiva says, ask me anything else. I cannot give you liberation. Liberation means your permanent end of wheel of samsara. I cannot give you that. Only Lord Vishnu can give. But please ask me for another boon. And then he continues to stitch. Please ask me for another boon. And then he says, okay, if that is the case, one person is destined to die tomorrow. Can you extend his life by one more day? Lord Shiva again puts his head down and he says, no, that is based on his karma, and anything can be changed only by Lord Narayan. Ask me some other boon. No, it's okay, I'm self-satisfied. No, please ask me for another boon. He continues to stitch. Okay, if you really want me to ask you a boon, give me a boon so that I don't have this difficulty to thread the needle. Every time I find it difficult, there's a small hole here, this big thread, I'm having difficulty. Please give me the boon so that I don't have this problem anymore. Parvati Devi went ballistic. She was furious. If he had asked you for one universe, you could have granted him one universe. It's a disgrace where he's asking you to help him thread the needle. You have to punish him. Lord Shiva immediately opens his third eye. Immediately. And there is fire of devastation coming out from between his eyebrow. And here, Thirumazhizai Alwar, it is said in the literature that he opened one of his eye from the right toe. One of his eyes from the toe. So we have eyes here in the face. He's got many eyes in his, I guess, many parts of his body, but this is one of the eyes from the toe. And there's fire, conflagrating fire from this eye that looked like thousands of sun colliding together, it seems. So much of fire came, and this fire engulfed the fire from the center of eyebrow of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva is furious again, and he releases this cloud. We have heard about Samvartaka cloud in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Here, it is a different type of cloud, but similar effect. There is so much of rain fell in such quick time that the land became an ocean. And Thirumazhizai Alwar is actually levitating above the water, still stitching his stone clothes. He's not worried about what has happened. And at that time, Lord Shiva gives him a name of Bhakti Sara. Bhakti Sara means he's the quintessence of Bhakti, or like the essence of Bhakti. And he tells Parvati Devi, you see, similar thing happened almost to Durvasa Muni when he did this to Ambarish Maharaj. Similarly, what we did is similar to what Durvasa Muni did to Ambarish Maharaj. So they are infallible devotees of the Lord. Let's go, and then they leave. Right after Lord Shiva leaves, then there is Shrutihara. There is one more personality. Shrutihara is a type of goblin. And the Shrutihara is flying on top on a tiger. And because this great personality here, down, the tiger could not pass him. You heard about no-fly zone? Right? No-fly zone, or even Bermuda Triangle. You know, no plane goes on top of it, right? They go around. So here the tiger could not go. This is a tiger that can fly. Of course, this is a Shrutihara, is a goblin. And this tiger with the goblin could not proceed on top of, put a brake. The tiger put a brake in air and he's not going anywhere. The Shrutihara says, what is wrong? Then he looks down that there is personality stitching his clothes. How can this person be so powerful? He's just stitching his clothes. He looks like a beggar and sitting in the steps of a tank in Gajendra Kund in Triplicane, Trivilikane. Okay, let me go down. So he comes down and he says, excuse me, why are you wasting your time stitching this clothes? Here, see my power. Puts his hand like this and he gets wonderful shawl studded with diamonds and gold. And he says, here, take it. Why do you try to stitch this already useless cloth? Throw it. Here, I can give this to you. And then Thirumazhizai Alwar looks at him and immediately he's able to take another shawl from no. He's got millions and millions of diamonds studded in that and is so effulgent like a sun. And he says, you take this. And then he wants to counterattack. So he takes his Rudraksha bead, the Shrutihara, and he takes it and gives it, and it becomes an expensive necklace. And what does Thirumazhizai Alwar does? He's wearing this neck bead. He takes his neck bead and he gives priceless diamonds and jewels. That becomes like that. So then the Shrutihara knows this person is capable of getting anything that he wants, but he does not have this. He's not deriving his happiness from this external source. If he wants, he can get, but he's happy from within. That's the verse that we are reading today. So this pastimes of Thirumazhizai Alwar are so apt to this verse by Lord Krishna, that the Shrutihara falls at his feet and goes. And then there is Konkana Siddhan, the third personality. He comes. Now Konkana Siddhan is an alchemist. He comes and he says, and he brings in this Rasagulika. Rasagulika means it's like a pill. And he says, here, you're like a beggar stitching your torn, useless cloth and wasting your time. Don't even waste. I am an alchemist. Here, take this Rasagulika and you will be able to convert 1/80th of a copper to priceless gold. Here, I'm giving it to you. Take it. What did Thirumazhizai do? He took some wax from his ear, and he's got some sweat because he's sitting in the tank under the sun. He mixes this wax from his ear to the sweat, and he says, here, take it. You will get unlimited wealth. What is this? This person is giving some sweat and wax, and he says, what is this? He was about to throw. No, take it and go. Come back tomorrow. He takes it and keeps it in his house, and it became the most expensive, huge rock of gold. What he gave was such small size. This became such a big rock of gold that it was priceless. So he became like the most richest person ever just by getting this wax which was mixed with sweat. So these are all greatness of this Thirumazhizai Alwar, who's none other than Sudarshan Chakra. He's a paraphernalia of the Lord. And all these pastimes confirm to us that there are mystics that Krishna is talking about, who are deriving the happiness from within because they realize that they are the spirit soul, and they are deriving this happiness because Paramatma is always with them. And so many other fascinating pastimes of this Thirumazhizai Alwar. And once he is going towards Kumbhakonam, and when he was going towards Kumbhakonam, Perumbuliyur is a place on the way, so he is staying there. And the deity is Lord Vishnu, and it is said when Thirumazhizai Alwar wanted to circumambulate the Lord, so he is going like this, this deity started turning. Wherever he is going, the deity is turning. And all these devotees said, what is this? The deity is turning wherever this Thirumazhizai Alwar is going. Then they started honoring him, and then there was a yajna, and all these brahmanas who were doing yajna said, no, how can you honor him? He looks like a Sudra. But they said, the Lord himself is fascinated by his devotee. He's turning around. Then they said, no, we cannot honor him. And then this high priest prayed to him, please show your greatness. And immediately from his heart manifested Lakshmi and Narayan. For the glorious view of all even those Brahmins who were against him, they also had this beautiful vision of the Lord. And once, when he was in Kanchipuram, he went to Kanchipuram, and in Kanchipuram, Kanikannar, if you remember the old couple who came and took the milk, they had a son. He became a great devotee and a disciple of Thirumazhizai Alwar. And he's serving Thirumazhizai Alwar, his spiritual master, in Kanchipuram. And at that time there was an old lady who started doing menial work, cleaning the floor, putting kolam and all those things for Thirumazhizai Alwar. She's serving that way. One day Thirumazhizai Alwar asked, can I give you a boon? She said, if you can give me a boon, I'm an 80-year-old lady. Can you make me really young? So be it. She became the most beautiful young lady ever to be seen in the Kanchipuram area. And Pallavaraya is a king. And Pallavaraya comes and he sees this old lady, former old lady, the most stunning looking lady. Says, can you please become my wife? I've never said, can you please become my wife? And she says, okay, I'll marry you. She did not say I was this old, 80-year-old lady. So she's happy. So she becomes queen and she marries Pallavaraya. And they have children, and in due course of time, this Pallavaraya becomes old. He's becoming older and older and older. And he's looking at his wife. She's not even aged a day from the time they got married. So she did not tell him what is the secret. Then finally he asked, tell me the truth. You don't seem to age a day from the time I married you, and look at me, all the wrinkles and grey hair. What is your secret? What did you do? Then she cannot tell a lie. So she says, I got this blessing from Thirumazhizai Alwar, but this Kanikannar who comes and begs alms in your palace every day, if you satisfy him, he's the disciple of Thirumazhizai Alwar, and then you may be fortunate to get the same blessing. So Kanikannar is your man, you need to satisfy him. And Kanikannar comes next day, and then here Pallavaraya says, can I talk to you, sir? Then Kanikannar comes. Can you please ask your spiritual master Thirumazhizai Alwar to come to my palace tomorrow? Immediately Kanikannar says, my spiritual master will not come to anybody's house, especially to a materialist like you. I'm sorry, he will not come. Now this king is not used to Is anybody talking to him like that? Then he was so angry, but he controlled his anger and he said, okay, you're a beggar. You came to my palace to beg. Sing some songs in praise of me. Then he started singing a song, but he said, in that meaning, my tongue is given to me by God to praise the Lord, not to praise a materialist like you. And he was so angry. He said, second time, sing praising songs for me. Again, he said, my tongue is just to praise the Lord. And immediately he says, I am banishing you from Kanchipuram. If I see you tomorrow in Kanchipuram, you will be killed. I am banishing you. Just like Vibhishan was banished by Ravana, where did he go? To Ram and Lakshman. Right away, as soon as Kanikannar is banished, he runs to Thirumazhizai Alwar. My dear Lord, I have been banished from Kanchipuram. No more Varadaraja Perumal. Varadaraja Perumal is the main deity in Kanchipuram. I don't have any more opportunity to serve the Lord. I have been kicked out from Kanchipuram. I take your leave. Thirumazhizai Alwar says, if you leave Kanchipuram, what work do I have in Kanchipuram? I am coming with you. And if both of us leave Kanchipuram, Varadaraja Perumal, Lord Krishna, he's got nothing to do in Kanchipuram. He's also going to come. So he goes, Thirumazhizai Alwar goes to Lord Varadaraja Perumal and he prays. My dear Lord, it's a nice beautiful Tamil verse it is. But in English, my dear Lord, please pack your snake bed and take all your paraphernalia and come. We are going. He's talking to the Lord. And the Lord, it is said, Varadaraja Perumal did not ask any question because he's the, in ninth canto we hear the Lord says, I'm controlled by my devotees. So he packed a snake bag and Kanikannar is walking, Thirumazhizai Alwar is walking, Lord Varadaraja Perumal is walking, and behind him whole host of demigods are walking. All of them leave Kanchipuram, walking and going. And this king Pallavaraya went to take his afternoon nap, not knowing what is happening. Then everybody knocked his door. Please come out and see what is happening. They all go out and he goes out and see. By that time, all the river and the lakes are all dry. No sun, no moon. There's a thick cloud that has descended. All the trees have died, grass, flower, everything is gone. Because all the demigods have left, the Lord is left. Immediately he knows the mistake. He runs, falls at the feet of Kanikannar and Thirumazhizai Alwar, and then, please come. My whole Kanchipuram is gone. Because of it, I made this mistake. Janmaishwarya Shrutashi Vireda Mana Madapuman, right? So when one is intoxicated in pride and opulence, then everything is gone. So he says, please come. They're almost out, right? So, and then the Lord, and then Thirumazhizai Alwar prays to the Lord again in this Tamil poem. My dear Lord, again take all your, things, paraphernalia, including your snake bed. Let's go back to your altar. Nothing. Lord Varadaraja Perumal does not ask anything. He comes back and all austerity and opulence comes back to Kanchipuram. There's so many glorious pastimes of Thirumazhizai Alwar. So this is to inspire us. And when we hear the wonderful glories of devotees of the Lord, we get the blessings because we are associating with them. And today's verse is one whose happiness is within. Just like Thirumazhizai Alwar, he was not fascinated by this wonderful opulence that was given by Supreme Personality, Lord Shiva, nor by this, Shrutihara or by Konkana Siddhan. Nothing fascinated him because he was deriving all the happiness from within. Grantaraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Charini Nirvishesha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Jagannatha Swami Nayana Vasaka Gami Bhavastume Jagannath Swami Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Bolo Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jai Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Bolo Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Bolo Krishna Balaram Jai Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Jai Gaura Hari Bo